Do you want the full music for your...
Yeah.
It's because Nick and I are in a fight because we both asked Gabrielle to prom tonight, and she said yes to Nick. So anyway,
maybe. Okay, she did. But wait. So you go with us? You can go with us. That's fine. So wait, who's going to prom?
Not me.
Comic Blonde, the young lady. We're all going to prom tonight. You two are going to prom. You asked her, and she chose him. That is very good. Right? That is totally. Julie, what are you doing? This kid.
I wanted to tell everyone that you also gave away my real name.
Oh. Let me tell you guys.
Mason, sit down. No, I'm in trouble.
All right, let's start it. I'm sorry.
Welcome. It's so great to have you here.
Well, thank you. Thank you. This is awesome, man. Seeing how many people are here. I love coming out and seeing, it's such a big room and it's full and it's awesome. And I'm excited to be here. I was trying to remember, it's been at least, I don't know if anyone out there remembers, I feel like it's been at least 4 or 5 years since I've been to C2E2. If ever. Have I been to C2E2 yet? No. Yes, I thought so. Sorry, there's so many that but I thought I had been. Anyway. But I'm happy to be here. Thank you for coming and listening to me talk about things and such. Do you have a question for me? Am I going over top? You have a platform?
Yeah. Well, C2E2 is 15 years old this year, and Clerks we're talking about the 30th anniversary of this. 30 years ago. Was it even, could you have even imagined what it is today? We are looking at multiple generations of fans at this point that are here to talk about this movie.
Thank you. Yeah, it's amazing. I didn't plan, Kevin can tell the story better, but Kevin and I went to the same high school. We grew up in the same town, and him and I helping him at the Quick Stop. And he was like, hey, I'm writing this script, and I really think you have a weird sense of humor, and I wonder if other people find it funny. Is it just Jersey funny, or would people in Chicago find you funny? And he's like, I'm writing a script, I'm gonna base it on you because I want to see if other people find you funny. And we shot the movie, and after we were done, I was roofing, putting roofs on houses, and delivering pizza, and I didn't think anything of it. Kevin went and started editing it, started making plans on going to film festivals, trying to sell it and all that good stuff, and I didn't think anything of it. And so it definitely was not something I was like, oh, I'm gonna make this movie with Kevin and hopefully people see it and we get to make more movies, and this is something I plan on doing for the rest of my life. It really wasn't until Dogma that I was like, wow. That I was like, wow, this is something I really want to do and see if I can take it further, and I don't want to put roofs on houses anymore and deliver pizza and stuff. I want this to be my career because it's so much fun, and I get to go to comic conventions and fucking meet all amazing people out here. I get to see fucking cosplayers, Blunt Man and cry. It's so surreal to me. It's what's great is, for me, too, it's like Kevin and I think the first convention we went to was San Diego Comic-Con in '95, which was already amazing. We were into comics and it was this huge convention and stuff, but how watch it change since '95. And the Avengers movies come out, and the Daredevil TV show, and all these shows I'm watching right now. I downloaded it, and I've been wanting to watch it, but I wanted to wait because I like to binge. But X-Men '97, oh my God. And every time it plays, it brings me back to me being a kid when it's like, oh, it's amazing. Anyway.
I'm gonna slightly blow your mind. You know that voice cast is at this convention, right?
No, I didn't know that.
Okay, you cannot go find them until the...
I gotta go, Mike!
So
I didn't know that. That's awesome. That's right. The whole cast is here.
And it's also, it's so great when you go back and rewatch the movie because it immediately, for me, took me back to when I was in school watching that movie, and there's so many sort of great elements of like the newspaper thing. There's so many things in that movie that don't necessarily exist anymore. So it's this great sort of archive of the 90s and so much of what we experienced.
It's really great. And it's funny because I remember when I first watched like the movies and stuff, you would see up on the TV screen Hank McCoy, and like not like they didn't show Beast yet in the actual movie, they just showed his name. And I knew who it was, and that used to excite me because I'd be like, the other 10 people in this room right now don't know who that is. But now people do, and I love like so many people, and like coming up to the table, like, you know, you see kids dressed as cop, like, and all people of all ages, and it's, I don't know, it's so awesome to see, honestly, so. And I feel like I had my toe in there, but I still have a comic book store in New Jersey, it's been open 25 years, so, you know, I ain't gone, so it's been great.
And you sort of talked a bit about from when you filmed the movie and then sort of promoting it and the experience of seeing how big things have sort of grown and changed since the movie came out. Can you talk a bit about the difference in when the first movie came out, and then by the time you got Clerks 3 and you were promoting that, and how your experience has changed?
For me, well, you know, for one, the biggest thing that stands out is when we filmed the first movie, again, it wasn't something I planned on doing, and I was so nervous, and I remember Kevin got so bummed because I'm like, I told him when I read the script, I'm like, dude, I don't think I can play this. And he said, well, what do you mean? I was like, man, the character, like, why does he say stuff like snoochie boochies and stuff? And I remember being so mad looking at me going, I don't know, motherfucker, why do you say snoochie boochies and stuff? But it was true, but when I read it, it's like, even though I said and did all these things, like he wrote Jay in Clerks and Mallrats, that's exactly how I acted as a 14, 15-year-old kid, is I'd hang out, me and my buddies would hang out in front of Quick Check, and we'd yell at people in cars, like, oh, if anything that moves, and, you know, like I would tug my wiener and all sorts of weird stuff. And so Kevin wrote down all these things, like, oh, he says that. I mean, Kevin made it a little bit, pieced it together and made it make more sense. But it's exactly how I acted, but when I would do that stuff, I realized over time, like, why does it seem so foreign to read myself and see myself do this on screen? And it's because when I would do it, it wasn't for other people's entertainment. It was for my own. I'd be like, I'm bored, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna run around this convention and suck things off to keep myself occupied. Not because people are watching, they're gonna be like, oh, look at him suck that off, that's funny. It's like, no, I'm bored, this is gonna entertain me.
You cannot leave the stage yet.
So it was weird now watching myself on screen and reading the scripts and all that. But yeah, I didn't plan on it. So that was one big thing. Over time, like we did more, and I was super nervous. So the first scene we shot was one of the first scenes was I'm like, Olaf, sing Berserker. And I remember just being like, Olaf, sing Berserker, because I was so nervous. And so I finally get through Clerks, and in Mallrats I got a little bit more comfortable. And then Chasing Amy and Dogman, I did an indie movie in Vancouver called Train Flies. So by the time we did Clerks 3, I was super comfortable in front of the camera. Same with coming up on stage, talking to people. If you guys go back and watch An Evening with Kevin Smith like 15 years ago or whatever, he'll call me out on stage, he'll be like, I brought a guest tonight, and I'll come out and people will be like, yeah, and I'll wave and stuff, and then like I'll sit on the couch being super quiet because I was so nervous getting up in front of so many people talking and stuff. And luckily I've gotten over that over the last many years. 30 years, how crazy is that?
I knew that I watched it in high school, and I did the math last night. And I was so mad at you when I realized it was 30 years. I was so mad at you.
Mewes.
I was like, how dare they make me wear my age?
It's crazy. It is. I'll be 50 in June. June 12th, I turn
50. Speaking of getting old and the stage, you have a show that you and Kevin are touring. Jay and Silent Bob Got Old. So the Mewes universe is moving beyond films. the cruise, and all of the other things, and now you're on stage. Can you talk a bit about that show?
Yeah, so Kevin and I started that like 8-9 years ago, or it might be a little bit longer. But we started, no, it has been longer because July 2nd will be 14 years sober for me. And we, like 6 months in, four to 6 months into being sober, Kevin was doing podcasts at the Smod Castle in California. And I would go and watch and stuff and do these podcasts with other people. And I was like, man, I really want to do a podcast. It looks so much fun and all that. Kevin's like, well, we'll do one. But if we do one, you have to talk about your past and about being sober and all that. So we started touring with the podcast, and it would be like, hey, I have 6 months sober, I have a year sober, 2 years sober, and all of that. So it started off for me being accountable to everyone. Kevin's like, I want you to talk about it. So when you see people, you're accountable. And it did for like the first 5 years. I go into Starbucks, someone would be like, how long do you have clean and sober? I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I have 4 years and 2 months, you know? So it was great, and we did that consistent for like 8 years. I feel like we did the podcast almost every week, twice a month. We travel everywhere, and it's been awesome. We tell stories, we talk about my sobriety, and we talk about things that happened on the movies and our friendship meeting and when we first met, all sorts of things. But yeah, it's been a while since we've done one live, but we're doing one. It's really cool for me, and I think for Kevin. We're doing a show at Stone Pony in Asbury Park, Preston, New Jersey tomorrow night. And growing up in New Jersey, like it was like Stone Ponies where like Bruce Springsteen played and all these bands, like you would be like, oh my gosh, you know who's playing at the Pony? And it was a big deal. It's like a really classic place. So to get to perform there for the first time, I'm super excited about it. And yeah, so we're doing it there. We're doing a show in New York the next night, Sunday night. And then, yeah. And so we've been doing it consistently for like 13 and so years. So it's pretty cool.
And yes, applause, please. And one other thing that has changed a bit from being sober, which I will continue to celebrate as many times as possible because that's such a great accomplishment. But you have your family now that you're able to sort of fold into your life when you go on tour sometimes. Can you talk a bit about that experience?
Yeah, it's been awesome. I've been with my wife now, which is pretty crazy. We've been together for almost 18 years. Thank you.
On set?
No, we met through buddy. I don't know if some people might know Andy Milanakis.
Yeah.
Andy and I have been friends for many years. We met during Mallrats in '97. Him and I started hanging out and been friends and stuff. And he was like, hey man, I'm going to this club tonight. I've been hanging out with these girls, and I really think there's a girl that you would like hit it off with. Come out with me. And I was like, I don't really want to come out and stuff, because I had like 3 years sober and I didn't really go out that much at that point. And he's like, man, just come out. I think you'll have fun. So we went out and he introduced me to her and some other girls and a couple of his other guy friends. And that's where we met, was out through Andy. And yeah, it's been 18 years. And then when I was turning 40, I was like, man, I'm 40. I was like, man, I think it's time to start a family and stuff. And we have a daughter who's 9 years old, and we have a son who's 14 months old. Thank you. I was trying to see, I was thinking while I was talking about these pictures I got. I've been posting trying to post a bunch. Here's my little man dancing. I don't know where we can.
I think if you aim it to this, look at it.
Yeah, so that's my son, Lucien. Thank you. And you guys probably have seen me post about my daughter. I've posted about her for years. This ain't her. This is her now, not now, but when she was younger. Last thing, and then I'll move on from this. But yeah, it's pretty awesome. It's been awesome. It's a lot of work. It's one thing I gotta say. I love traveling. We go to London next week, Kevin and I. We go to Jersey, and then we go to London, and I'm like excited. I love London. Like, I love seeing castles and stuff. I know it's goofy, but I do. I'm like, ooh. And I just picture, like, what the fuck it must have been like living there. I keep cursing. I forget there's probably kids here, but it just seems surreal to me that there's actual real castles out there. But anyway, now it's like, it's tough because I miss the kids. Like, the wife, I can go 2 weeks before, I'm like, oh, baby, I miss you so much. You know what I mean? But the kids, it's like 2 days, and I'm like, oh my God, are they okay? What's going on? You know, I'll hear them crying in the back, I'm like, what'd you do to him? You know? So it's been great. It definitely keeps me busy when I'm home. It's like, I'm traveling doing this. I do stand-up, Mewes and his amusing stories. If you guys ever see me see that anywhere, I trip and traveling all over with that. I do at comedy clubs and stuff. I stream on Twitch if anyone's bored and want to hang out with me. Twitch.tv/Mewes. I'm going to be streaming later tonight, some Fortnite. And so yeah, so when I'm not doing that stuff and traveling with the cons or doing a movie, I'm home busy running around with the kids and stuff, so.
And your Twitch schedule is on your website, as well as links to get tickets for any of those touring shows.
All that stuff, yes. So yeah, if you guys go on my website, Mewes, Jymews. So I post again on my social, all that. I always post when I'm going to be in a city, going to be performing or doing what have you. So definitely, the Twitch guy, I tell people all the time, because they'll be like, man, I can't believe I'm meeting you right this, and not everyone, but some people will be like, I can't believe I'm meeting you right now. I'm like, we can hang out every day. It's true though, it's true. And like my buddy, I don't know where he went, but I have a buddy that if you guys go to my table, the guy hanging out behind the table, him and I met on Twitch like 3 years ago, and he's been traveling with me to the cons and stuff because him and I hit it off so well. So anyway, follow me on Twitch.
We're gonna get the front drop.
Do you want to open up for them before we?
Yeah, why don't we open up to questions? So y'all, we have 2 microphones in the aisles. So you're gonna see those lights come on, please. Get them on.
Over here. And
I'm gonna make sure that Jay doesn't fall off the stage.
Is this a giveaway right here? This cool speaker?
That is not something we're giving up, Jay. Is that yours?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you guys. Have a good night.
Put it down. I like that we both have toddlers right now. It's so easy to. All right, so when you ask your question, please share your name and where you're from, and ask your question.
Yes.
We'll start with 1.
Let me ask you a question real quick.
Yeah.
Do you have a son or a daughter?
I have a son.
So as a woman, a mom, when you change your son, your infant, are you like, man, look at this, he's gonna probably have a big penis and open it up. Because as a father, I do all the time, and my wife's like, you're weird, why do you always say that? I'm like, because you don't understand, I want my man to grow up at like 18 and be like, what? But is it not the same for moms, I guess?
I think you're like, oh.
Stop talking about baby dicks. Throw us out of Chicago, man. How's everybody doing? How are you?
I'm wonderful.
Can I tell a
Welcome.
quick story before we jump into this?
Is it a quick story or a Kevin quick
It's a
story?
20-minute story, but
We're gonna get to your question number
we'll
1.
get there. Hold this thought, man. I just got it because I was just texting with my wife. Happy anniversary! Thank you very much. Yesterday, I was married for 25 years. Today, we're divorced. Today is the first day of the next 25. A lot of pressure. But recently, I was at my house, and our front door doesn't have like a peephole or anything like that, and it's a ridiculously oversized green door. Looks like something out of, fucking Charles Dickens or something like that. And so, when people come and knock on the door, ring the bell, you can't see who's outside. You just gotta open up the fucking door. So somebody rang while I was in my office, and I was like, I'm not expecting anybody, and of course, irritated, like, who the fuck would bother me? I open up the door, it's the Los Angeles Police Department. 2 LAPD cops, both of whom looked like they were maybe 20 years old, man. Maybe feel old as fuck, because I was like, is this Halloween? And they're like, we are the real thing. So I said, what's going on? And they were like, I see that you've got a camera on your house. I was like, we do. He goes, somebody went missing in the neighborhood. We were hoping maybe they walked past your camera. I was like, oh my God. I was like, me and my wife have been rewatching The Closer. You know that TV show, The Closer? So I know exactly what you fucking need, man. Dialed in for this shit. I was like, I got this shit on my phone. So I pulled out my phone and I was like, okay, look, we'll go to this camera and we'll scrub through it, and then it would just think for 5 minutes and shit like that. And I was like, I'm sorry, it's still thinking. And he's like, it's all right, we can wait and stuff. And then at one point, the other police officer is just like, would you mind if I pull the car closer to your garage? And I said, no, please, feel free. And then he looks at me and he goes, are you fucking Kevin Smith? And I go, no, I've never fucked Kevin Smith. And then the other cop goes, yeah, it's fucking Kevin Smith. You just figured that out? He's like, I knew when he opened the door and shit. And I was like, oh my God, the fact that 2 children know who I am. It means the absolute fucking world to me. I was like, come inside. I said, this shit ain't working on my phone. So, well, I'll take you to my laptop. We probably scrub through it. So we go inside. They had body cameras on, which I didn't think about until they were in the house. And then this is the weirdest fucking thing. The moment I realized they had body cameras on, I sucked in my gut a little bit. Because I was like, I'm on camera and shit like that. So I sat down at my desk, I scrolled through the computer, showing them the video footage and shit like that. And at one point, you know, they got the microphones that they wear right here. It's just like in fucking TV. And they got the little walkie-talkie here. And all of a sudden you hear, and the guy was like, yeah, all right, blah, blah, blah. And then he turns to me and his partner, he goes, shooting in Hollywood. And Hollywood is like 2 blocks from where we are and stuff. And I was like, you're kidding me? He goes, yeah. Out of nowhere, all of a sudden, from his thing, I hear, and I was like, Jesus Christ, did somebody just get fucking shot? And he goes, no, that's my ringtone, I'm sorry. And I was like, do you think that's a wise ringtone? He goes, it's from Lethal Weapon. So I was just texting my wife and she was like, the police came back. And I was like, was it my 2 friends? And she said, yeah, they wanted to look one more time at the footage and shit like that. And I said, tell them we finished The Closer so we can be of any help whatsoever. Anyway,
but all of a sudden she was like, why don't you look at the camera now? And all of a sudden the police were like,
I was so scared that was going to happen.
close this, baby.
To protect and to swerve.
I think I'm more concerned that the people that were doing the investigation weren't observant enough to notice who you were.
Honestly, I think they didn't want to be like, holy fuck.
They're being chill.
They kept it as chill as they could.
All right.
The guys like broke the dam, and then the other guy was like, you dummy. But it's for fire.
Yeah, we got our first chill question over here. Hi.
You've been ready for this question, like, in a state of cat-like readiness for 10 minutes now. So we're going to turn over. What's your name?
My name's Alex.
Give it up for Alex. Alex. Fire away.
Super quick thing, Kevin. My dad met you a couple months ago at your show, and he had you call me on the phone.
That was you?
That was me.
Holy shit, man. How much did it mean?
Nice to meet you in person.
Do you know your dad sold me drugs after that shit?
You know, I wouldn't know it. He had me watching you guys when I was... Yeah, and he had me watching you guys when I was a baby, still in the car seat, so...
Are you serious?
Yes.
Number one, please thank him from the bottom of my heart, because the only way we will continue to work until we're like fucking 70 is by people who are our age having kids and being, you gotta watch this shit. And it's really bad now, because we've met over the years, like so many people, like today, I was taking pictures, signing shit, and I met so many kids in their 20s, and I was like, what could you possibly find about these old men movies to identify with? And then every time they say something like, I've watched it with my parents and stuff, which to me sounds like punishment, but whatever.
Well, my first time hearing Goodbye Horses was seeing Jason Mewes, and then I had to watch that at school, so it was great.
And somewhere, you know, every person who ever saw Silence of the Lambs is like, that's where you first saw it?
Yeah, sorry, I originally had a question for Jason. I have, Jay, sorry. I have it for both of you. Jay, I heard you said you love Fortnite.
yes.
Too. Can you just show me what your favorite emote is?
Oh, there's a few, but one of my favorite, which I can't do, but is the fucking wind up.
What do you mean you can't do it? That was pretty fucking good.
You really know soul that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Dove right into it.
Appreciate it. That one, Billy Bounce, I like a lot, which I can't do Billy Bounce, but yeah, there's a few. I can't. It's like I don't. And then Scenario is like the iconic one. He does like. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your question.
Thank you.
Hi. What's your
Wait, hold on. Wait, she had one more. Go ahead. I know. Look, you were like, I'm not done. That's the
I'm
things
just
I have.
in the hall all the time.
No need to apologize. We love
Or
you.
Clerks 3. I saw it with my dad. I just wanted to ask, I kind of have an idea, but why did you pick Black Parade?
Oh,
What was the significance of that?
I've always loved that song since my kid introduced me to it, right? She was when she was like in her pre-teens, what do they call it, tweens. She was way into MCR and whatnot. And she played, I remember like, you know, having to listen to a lot of music that I probably never would have heard, even though they're technically a New Jersey band. But I never would have heard it had my kid not been such a massive fan. When I heard that song, I just loved it. It's so operatic, it's so massive and big. And for years, I saw the opening, that exact opening of Clerks 3 predicated on that song. You know, in terms of having a vision as a director, I'm not one of those cats. My vision is like, we're here, let's do something fast, you know. But having a vision about that opening credit sequence, like 5 years, I nursed that motherfucker. So when we got to the set, it was, I could not just execute, but elevate it. And shooting it was great, but cutting it, sitting down with the footage and cutting it to the song and finding out I was right after all those years. Like, I knew this would fucking work, man. So it's number one, it's a beautiful song. Gerard's an absolute poet, but there's also the sentimental base of like, my kid introduced me to this song. And you never, you know, the older I get, the fewer new things ever creep through, right? So you appreciate whenever somebody gives you something like a gift like that, where it's like, oh my God, here's a rabbit hole for me to fall down, listen to all this music and discover these new artists. I had Gerard and Mikey over to the house for an episode of this podcast where we played Welcome to the Black Parade. I was like, all I want to do is play the song and pause it and ask you what you fucking meant. And so they're like, all right, and we went through the song, we'd play our lyric, and I'd stop it, and what does that mean? And they would literally decipher it for me, man. It was fantastic. So I love those guys, I love that song. They are a Jersey band, and they, you know, at the very least, deserve to open the movie if they wanted to. I remember asking Gerard at one point, I was like, bro, how about you do the whole score for Clerks 3? And he was like, no. That's a lot of work, but you can take Black Parade. And I was like, thank you.
Thank you for all you guys do.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hi.
I'm Marcellus.
Yeah, I remember you. How are you?
I'm good.
We just met earlier today.
Yes, we did. It's nice meeting you.
Nice.
My question is for both of you. First, Kevin, how do you go about creating these unique characters in the universe? And Jay, what do you feel like you learned the most from playing the character Jay?
Honestly, the most unique character I've ever created probably is the character Jay, and I didn't create him, he was just predicated on who he was when he was 16 years old. So people like say they love Jay, and I'm like, well then you, like me, have loved Jason Mewes. Jay, of course, is an actor, and over the years has perfected acting like Jay. But that character was born of a 16-year-old version of him. Whenever you watch that character, that is exactly what Jason Mewes was like at age 16. So I always felt of him as like, this guy's a true like American original, man. Like, there ain't many people like him, and yet, oddly enough, the big, like, I love him, he reminds me of my cousin, he reminds me of my sister, he reminds me of my dad, or something like that. And yet he gets to stand by himself as an original. He's the rocket sauce that fueled the fucking ship that got us off Jersey into pop culture. Because he was just so distinct and fucking different, man. Very rarely in life you get to spend 30 years standing next to somebody, both professionally and personally, that you admire so much. Like, even from a young age, even though I was older than him, I was always taken by him because he was just so fucking different than everybody else. And he continues to be that way even now. Seriously, the dude's gonna be 50 this year. He's fucking sitting up here talking about baby dicks. about Dante and Randall, but it's also about the guys who are dealing outside the store. And one of them didn't say shit. The other guy did all the heavy lifting and stuff. So I often think like I'm proudest of this character, but I had nothing to do with the creation of the character other than me going, that's a good fucking idea. A dude who say snookins after things? Like, I didn't write that. I didn't write snoochie boochies. That's just shit he said. And I gave him a script for Clerks, and it was written to everything he would say and who he was when he was a kid. And I was like, what do you think? He's like, I don't think I can do this. And I was like, it's fucking you, man. So yeah, he's been my good luck charm this entire run. That's why you rarely see me make a movie like without him in it. And, you know, not just as Jay either. It's like being around his energy. He's still creative, he's still like a kid, even though we're both old men. Over to you.
What was it? Sorry, I forgot the question. I was so in that. I was like, really? Tell me more. Keep going now.
He was like, he never compliments me.
I said, what have you learned the most from playing the character Jay?
What have I learned the most? I don't know. I just like he said. I would say definitely that over the years, people say like I have a cousin like you. Like knowing that there are people that speak their mind and are that people want to hang out with because they think they're funny or like make them feel good because they're sort of timid and shy and things like that. It's really been cool. Like I meet people all the time that are like, hey man, I'm Jay to his son Bob and things like that, like cousins, brothers, and all this stuff. So that's something that I've seen over the years going to cons and stuff and meeting people, and it's been awesome. So
Thank you.
thank you.
My name's Jacob. This is for Jay. Are you going to be doing any more paranormal investigation with Jack Osborne?
I hope so, man.
Me too.
Thank you. If you guys don't know what he's talking about, it's awesome. A while back, Jack Osborne was like, hey man, I'm going to be going looking for Bigfoot. Do you want to come try to find him with me? And I was like, I'm in, bro. And it was awesome. I had such a blast. And I like took a boat out to this island with all these woods, and like we spent the night in the woods, like looking and listening and trying to find Bigfoot, and talked to a bunch of people who had these encounters and stuff. And anyway, that was a blast, and it went well. And then he was doing another episode at Skinwalker Ranch. It was like, hey, do you want to partake in this? I was like, definitely. And then Jamie Kennedy jumped in on that one. So the three of us went to Skinwalker Ranch, and we went to all these different places looking for stuff. And then just recently we went to Ashmore Estates, and we were looking there as an old mental hospital that's been around forever and is supposed to be haunted and such. It's so much fun doing it. And yeah, I mean, they pitched ideas for other episodes. I know that Jack has, because Jack has like a relationship with Discovery Channel and stuff. So I don't know, I've been waiting to hear. I'm hoping like he's thrown some ideas my way. And he's like, listen, we're just waiting to hear back. So keep your eyes out, because again, I know that Jack's interested and I'm interested. It's just a matter of Discovery if they're willing to like send us somewhere to go look for some more fun things. So
Thank you. Hi.
Hello. So I kind of was introduced to your cinematic universe kind of like Tarantino style. I didn't start from the beginning. I caught different movies here and there and then went back and watched them all play out.
That's honestly how most people do it. Most people our age, have aged with us and gone through movies in the order they were made and stuff. But there's no wrong way in as far as the filmmaker's concerned. As long as you get in there. Like, for example, there are people who are like, I only know you from Degrassi, with me, man, because it's one thing to be known as like, oh, this is filmmaker Kevin Smith or podcaster Kevin Smith. To a bunch of people, they don't know any of that shit, and they only know me as a guy who acted on Degrassi, and they're still trying to figure out why they let an old man in school to give advice to children.
It's the only Degrassi episode I ever saw, by the way.
Well, then you're shortchanging yourself. It was an amazing show. However, we were the best episode, so.
Was my drama teacher gave me and my scene partner a scene from Chasing Amy. It's a scene where I'm coaxing Joey's character about like to come forward and tell me about like everything she did, because I heard all the stuff.
The hockey games.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And it was so interesting playing that before seeing it and then seeing how it was. I was like, oh, that's crazy. Has nothing to do with my question. Just want to share.
I like that.
So my question is, the first movie I saw was Mallrats. When is Mallrats 2 coming?
The opening song.
Yes.
And we've been trying for the last, 5 years. It's weird. Universal owns the movie. When we made Mallrats, it was with Gramercy Pictures, and that was a co-production between Universal and Propaganda. So it dissolved, and eventually they had another boutique label years later and stuff. Focus, things like that. But back then, this was like their genre. Let's try getting into the world of independent film, even though we're a big studio. So Universal owns Mallrats. Thing is, they never remember that. So whenever I go in, and I've done this multiple fucking times with multiple fucking regimes, like entire fucking staffs have been replaced. So I'm like, new people? All right, I'll go in and try again. So I always bring the Mallrats 2 script. It's called Twilight of the Mallrats. And I'm like, hey man, I'm ready to do this. Like, I'm ready to make the sequel. I got everyone on board. Like, everyone's happy to come back. Let's make Mallrats 2. And they're like, we own Mallrats 1? I was like, first off, it ain't called Mallrats 1. This is Mallrats. The second off, yeah, you guys have it. They're like, oh my God, I love that movie. And I'm like, oh, then you're going to love this, man. Because everybody comes back. We just take the story into the future. Read it, let me know. And then I'll read it and bring me back for a meeting. And invariably, this is the response. I was like, what did you think? They're like, we read it. This is neither fast nor furious. And that's where the conversation dies. Because they're right. It's like, well, there's no cars in this whatsoever. That's what they're interested in making. They honestly don't remember they own Mallrats. So much so, I'll give you an illustrative story about that. We made toys for years, and still do for time to time products with the folks at Diamond, right? So our boy at Diamond was like, hey man, I was like, we're doing all these Clerks things. We could do Mallrats stuff, but you got to get the license from them. And so he was like, all right, I deal with Universal on Jurassic Park, on The Grinch, on a bunch of shit. This shouldn't be a problem. I know exactly who to talk to. So he talked to him and blah, 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 and he got back to me after a couple of weeks. He's like, I got the license. I was like, get the fuck out of here, man. You got a Mallrats license so you can make t-shirts, toys, blah, blah, blah. He said, yeah. I was like, how much does something like that go for? And he goes, do you really want to know? And right then and there, I was like, here comes the humiliation. And so he goes, I asked them, hey man, I'm interested in getting the Mallrats license. And they were like, all right, we'll get back to it. They got back to him 2 days later, and they were like, we're gonna charge $5,000. How's that? And he was like, I mean, okay, that's an arbitrary figure. Fuck, I'll give you 10. But why? And they're like, this movie was papered and dealt with back before we had computers. So all of the paperwork is literally paperwork, and it's in some storage bin in the valley that looks like the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark. So they're like, it would cost more for us to have somebody go down there and try to find this fucking paperwork. So we just said $5,000. So that's what I face whenever I'm like, can we make a Mallrats sequel? They're like, and you are? You know? And whenever I go in for a meeting, they're like, oh, Kevin Smith. We thought we were meeting with Kevin James. Fuck, you know? So it'll be a minute. I never give up hope and stuff. And you know, I sometimes I'll cannibalize a script when I don't think it's ever going to happen and take the best jokes and stuff and put it in something else. I haven't done that yet, so that's usually a good sign. So fingers crossed, before I leave this world, I'll get to do fucking Mallrats 2. And at that point, it'll be about fucking old people walking in the mall.
All right, I'm looking at the time, and we've got time for one more question. So, hi.
Hi, how are you guys doing?
So good. What's your name?
My name is Shane.
Give it up for Shane. He's bringing us home, man.
I actually have an answer for Mewes' question from earlier. You guys did Jay and Silent Bob Get Old Smodcast in 2015 in this very room.
It's C2E2. I thought it looked familiar when I came out here. Life for us is sometimes a series of stages, and it looks like this. You can see a vague shape of bodies and stuff like that. But there's
The
something
stage wasn't as high that year.
Neither was I. Anyway, back to you.
But that is, I just wanted to answer.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for your
But you want to ask a question to get us out? Do you have a question for Kevin?
I've actually got the picture that we took with you that year.
Well, thank you. We can end it by you showing it, blowing it up. Bring it to me. I want to see it now.
So while he's walking that up, speaking of pictures, y'all are here this weekend. You're gonna be at the autograph table.
Yes, we just spent all day taking pictures and signing stuff, and we'll be here tomorrow doing it until like 3 o'clock. Then we get out and go to Jersey and do a show there.
Chronicon!
And like, well, do you know the Rose Market? And I was like, dude, I fucked at the Rose Market. So, Chronicon is happening, I believe it's the weekend of October 3rd or something like that. Tickets are on sale right now. We'll be there. A bunch of folks from the music universe will be there. All the podcasts that we do are going to be there. It's going to be like essentially the Jay and Silent Bob Con, man. So you're all welcome.